Normally I would say hold the applause, but please just applaud at random times, make us feel good. Hi everybody, welcome. Welcome to Locked In. My name is Charissa Thompson, and I am honored to be here today with these fine individuals I will introduce you to in just a second. But we're going to get a preview and have a discussion about Matthew Stafford, Rams quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback, 15-year NFL vet, and as you will see in this preview, so much more than a football player, but football being a centerpiece of his life, but of course a husband and a father and a friend. So thank you guys for being here. You will get an unprecedented look at something that is really special and is made in part by the individuals that are up here and so many others. So my name is Charissa Thompson, and I've been a sports broadcaster for, 20 years, which is weird, because I'm only 28, so I don't know how that works out. But I've had the privilege of covering Matthew his entire career. I spent a lot of time covering Lions games, the 0-16 season, which is how Matthew ended up in Detroit. So I've got the privilege of knowing him over the years professionally and also personally, being close friends now with his wife and him. So this is very special to me, and I will introduce you now to these wonderful folks up here who Matthew is also very special. Not only in their lives, but the other way around. So first and foremost, Frederick, who is the CMO of the Rams, Chief Marketing Officer, yes. Justin Polk, Fame Director, who put this thing together. And Stephen Cundari, who is co-founder of Summit House, which is the parent company of the production company that put this all on. So before we get to the trailer, which I cannot wait for you guys to see, I want to just talk quickly and let the audience in. I know how special Matthew is to all of you guys up here, but maybe just give them a little bit of understanding of why it is that he means so much to you. Kat?
I mean, to have the Super Bowl winning quarterback in his first season, obviously there's something surreal about Matthew, but I think from a professional standpoint, Matthew is a relatively private guy, and so I don't think the world gets to appreciate him the way that we do at the brand. And then personally, as a dad of 4 girls, and Matthew and my girls are of relatively close age, and so to see not only through their eyes, my daughter's eyes, his daughter's eyes, this love for football emerge, it's extraordinarily special, and I'm so very proud and grateful to be able to showcase some of that.
And Justin?
I grew up in Texas, in Dallas, same area as Matthew, and I played college football, and we really pay attention to the football players in our area. We follow them.
So Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Mm-hmm. It's Texas football. You start playing full pads when you're 5. Watching Matthew from high school, keeping an eye on him at Georgia, seeing what he's doing, and then, his road to Detroit, you saw the talent, you saw how special he was, because there were a lot of quarterbacks that came from Texas that were around the same time that were really good. And so I've just drawn this project because I just wanted to be able to, be a part of that story, be a part of that. It's like a hometown thing. So, it's very special to come into this thing and just be able to tell it like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Steve?
I love it. I also started playing football at 5 in full pads. So, no, for me, this is super personal. As one of Matthew's closest friends for going on, I think, almost 20 years now. We met back in college, so I've seen him before. The fame, the Super Bowls, the wins, the comeback wins, the touchdowns, and then for him to entrust me, because obviously he had a hand in this as well, with telling his story to the world alongside the Rams. Very special. Really excited for everybody to see kind of underneath the helmet. He's not the most talkative guy. I'm sure for those of you out there who have interviewed him, he doesn't always have the most to say, but this kind of really peels back the layers to him and kind of shows you the guy he is. So very excited.
Good. So we're going to take a look at the trailer, and then I'm going to ask all of them some pointed questions about how we ended up getting here, and then I'd like to open it up at the end for about 20 minutes if you guys have any questions as well. But let's sit back and enjoy all of their hard work here for the next couple minutes. Enjoy.
Matthew, he's tough as nails.
Confident, gifted.
He is a freaking killer.
Leaping catch! Got it!
Football's not for everybody. You gotta compete at a high level, but if you don't have a sense of urgency about that, you're probably in the wrong job.
I think to fully understand Matthew, the football player, you have to be able to see his process from the beginning to the end.
We were 3-6, and he knew that he was going to be able to come back off of this thumb injury.
And this 2023 campaign still has a heartbeat.
The last 8 games of our season, playoffs on the line. We have to win all these games to get in.
We're right in the mix.
And then you got to play 2 games in 5 days.
It's just a rush to get ready, but obviously we'll be ready to rock. Being a quarterback for an NFL team is definitely challenging when it comes to finding the balance on the field. And what's going on at your house. Hi, guys.
He does an incredible job when he is home to be present.
So Tuesdays, I wake up, get him ready to go, then I take him to school. I go for some treatment, and watch tape, and then basketball practice. Thank you for your fandom. I want the respect of the guys I play with. I want the respect of the guys I play against.
Every time that ball's come out of his hand, it spins perfectly.
No one can do the things that Matthew does. Point blank, period. That's just what it is.
I was like, how do I get this to him without taking just a massive kill shot hit?
Huge win.
Get in there! Whoa! And show him you still got it.
Nobody gave us a chance to be at the position that we're in, and we have an opportunity to go play the Lions. I understand what the people of Detroit and what the city of Detroit meant to me and my family.
God, I feel like we've made this walk 9,000 times.
Treat it like every other week, right? Prepare and try to play as good as you possibly can to help your team win.
Everything you got for the man next to you, we come away with a win. Let's go!
This guy's at his best when the odds are stacked against him.
50 on the number! You can hear a pin drop.
There's so much more to my life than playing football.
Don't get tackled. Go get him, Daddy.
But football is damn important.
Fight for what we love.
Wanting to be one of the best guys that ever played this position in this game.
Flings it right side. It is caught! A heat seeker. Bring that shit!
Love you. This is great. I want a gold jacket, and I know what I got to do to get there, and that's win Super Bowls.
Daddy.
Yes. Thank you, big dog.
Right? I'm fired up.
Where are the pads? I'm ready.
And I think, I mean, I've watched that now, I don't know, a dozen times, but every time I watch it, I think to myself, if you didn't like Matthew Stafford before, you're gonna love him after you watch this. There's not a lot of people that don't like Matthew to begin with, but as you can see, that is that unprecedented access that these fine folks up here have given you access to with Matthew. And I know, the very popular series quarterback and things like that, but really what you're gonna see with this is even more than that. So Kat, I wanna start the conversation off with you. Why? Why now? Tell his story and show this side of Matthew.
I mean, as I said before, Matthew, a guy who really doesn't lean into social media, is a man of few words. I think he has brought so much to our team since in his 3 seasons here. And I think there's a story to tell. There is this notion that there's so much to the man. And he is always, when you see him in the facility, he is locked in, he is football first. And so many people understand the lore of Matthew. He's a guy with grit, he's a guy with determination. He can take those blows, but to create the leader and the human that he is, that's a 24/7 job. And we think that it is now, in his 15th season, the time to be able to showcase what the man is about and why people go into battle for him.
And Justin, take us through the journey, because I know when you guys originally started the conversation about doing this, it was to just show, here's a guy, 15 years, by his own admission, he's, not a spring chicken anymore, but it's like how you prepare for 2 games in 5 days and the amount of, effort and energy that goes into something like that. But then it turned into more, right? We saw a little bit of that Detroit game and sort of, these reality is stranger than fiction kind of a thing. So take us through that journey, how it started and how it ended up.
Yeah, the original idea was to follow Matthew between these 2 games they had in 5 days. 1 game on the Sunday and then the game on Thursday, and to see behind the scenes and his effort that he puts into not only on the field but also at home, because 1 week is different than the next, right? You got a regular week and you have a shortened week, and how does he prepare for it? How does he handle his family life? All of that stuff. But as you know, when you're doing documentaries, nothing ever goes as planned. Everything changes immediately. So I think the way we pivoted was because we had a bigger story here. We had not only these 2 games, but we also had the chance to talk about this playoff run, this time in the season, some of the best football he's ever played in his career, and then also, the big game against Detroit, right? So I think when we saw that opportunity, we can't stop filming. We gotta keep going. So, as a filmmaker, I always want to push and keep going and keep doing more and to get the best story possible. So we all came together as a team, the Rams, Steve, everybody, and we said, let's just keep going. Let's see what it is.
How excited were you when you found out they were going to play Detroit?
Oh, so excited. So I mean, it's like the perfect dream. And when you're filming, you don't really talk about it, but you kind of talk about it in hushed whispers, like we got a chance to play Detroit, because you don't want to. There's a lot.
So funny enough about that, Matthew actually on the way home from one of the games early in the season, you saw kind of a little bit there, the Sprinter van, which is really unprecedented access to see a guy like that right out of the locker room. He's still bleeding. He's got ice packs on his, arms, knees, whatever's hurting that week, and he just kind of unloads on our way home from game. So really cool access there. But early in the season, he goes, I think we got a chance. If we can make it into the playoffs, we're going to go to Detroit. And obviously it didn't go, our way, but, he had that in the back of his mind all season. So he also mentioned there, we might have to win those 8 games to get there, and it was really special for him to go back. So.
And Steve, as you mentioned, you've been friends with him for 2 decades. Why did Matthew, somebody that is reserved and lets his play do all the talking, why did he want to do something like this at this point in his career?
I think legacy is now, with him being in the 4th quarter of his career, who knows how many years he has left. That
many
legacy.
Years.
Hopefully, maybe he'll play 10 more. Who knows? Cementing his legacy, and I think also for his 4 little girls who are all, now starting to understand that their dad is cool. Kids are wearing dad's jersey to school, and they're starting to understand the game a little bit. So something to leave behind to them too, so they could kind of remember what it was like. Obviously, they're a big piece of this being in the film as well. So what was it like back then when Dad was playing? So.
For you, Justin, when your subject is someone like Matthew, who is always going to lead with a foot of humility and doesn't want to brag about himself, it doesn't even know how, right? He wants everybody else to pat him on the back. He's not going to do it himself. But for you, how did that process unfold, and did he get more comfortable as you guys as the weeks of filming went on, and sort of that process and what you were able to unearth from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this before one other time, but I actually shot Matthew his first day he signed his contract for something else I did with the Rams, the Draft House Rebel Wilson thing, and so I kind of just find a point of, we know each other kind of thing, and comfortability.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. And then I just talked to him. I was like, look, this is your one chance to tell your truth. Like, don't let anybody else tell it for you. Let's do it together. Let's do it in a good way, and just be honest, and I'll make sure that you look great.
Was there something in there, and you could tease it if you don't want to give away the full thing, to keep everybody excited about what's to come, but was there something that you can share with us that you were surprised by, that he said, or maybe that you didn't know about him prior to having such, unprecedented access?
I think even in the trailer you see it. I'm surprised he said, I want to go jacket.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
he never talks about himself that way.
Is he talked, I mean, even in
Never,
private?
never publicly, that's for sure. But to get that on camera, I almost said, "That's it, we're good. Let's leave." That's
Yeah.
all. That should be the trailer right there. Those 3 seconds. So, yeah, he's a humble guy. He's been that way his whole career. He puts his head down, goes to work, plays for his teammates, plays the game the right way. So for him, as Justin said, to be able to tell his truth and stand up for yourself. At some point, he, throughout the years, hasn't gotten the respect that everyone closest to him knows he deserves. He knows he deserves. So for him to be able to sit there and kind of stand up for himself a little bit in his way was really cool. Really cool to see.
Kat, it's so unique. I mean, I'd want to play for the Rams and have someone put a video of my life together. I mean, it's really, this has never happened before, that a team, has put the efforts and the energy and the monetary backing to something like this to promote their own player, right? We've seen other players do it for series like the quarterbacks, but a team hasn't done this before.
Correct.
Why?
I mean, I think, one, it takes a large commitment, certainly from the perspective of an in-season capture. We are always, football is the main thing. How do we keep the main thing? But certainly is an opportunity, and when Matthew can embrace not only an in-house production team, shout out to Marissa Daly and Sam Lack, who were lead producers with Summit House and with Justin on this project, it is a unique opportunity when we think about what underscores our brand and we endeavor to be defiantly original. And when you think about that, you say, yes, we believe we can produce something that is on par with what you see from NFL films, what you see from HBO, what you see from the Amazons, and we believe we can tell the story and retain creative control, and that is a unique opportunity. NFL Film shared with us that this is one of the first ever features that will go straight up to NFL Films as a syndicate when we launch on April 18th. And that is just a really special moment and an inflection point as we lead into draft to talk about how excited we are about the 24 season.
Was it difficult, and maybe Steve, this can go to you or it can be a collective, was it difficult to get Matthew on board with this?
Steve, you tell me.
Oh yeah.
How many times has he been asked to do something like this?
Well, even me, just as a conduit through him, every week for the past 15 years. Everybody always wants something, but going back to that creative control and having it in-house and trusting, myself to, I'm like, hey, if you can perform on the field for these few weeks, which he did, I think it was the best 5-game stretch of his career potentially.
Absolutely.
If you can perform on the field, we'll make you look good off and everywhere else. So, yeah, there was some convincing on the front end, but, as, Justin alluded to, he got more comfortable and he knows we were going to give him something special, so.
And I think when you look at the landscape of the season that we were coming into, I think Bill Plaschke had us at 3 wins for the year. And I think that there was a driving heartbeat within the building that we knew what we had. We knew what we drafted. We had the weight-bearing walls of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald. Why don't we believe? In Matthew, we trust. Why not use this opportunity to go showcase best of breed? And, I mean, he's good when we turn on the cameras.
Yeah, star.
I want him to play for a long time, but as the broadcaster in me, who has the luxury of sitting on a panel with amazing guys, he'd also be really great on TV.
You got big wit, Charissa.
I do. Matthew needs to stay on the field for a few more years, but he is very charismatic, and you get a little glimpse of that here and in the full documentary, of course. Justin, for you, what do you want fans to take away from this?
Man, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is just, Matthew gets so disrespected in terms of like where he is in the charts of great quarterbacks. Like even this year, I think they had him ranked like number 27, 28, 29th in the league going into the season.
Reminder, there are 32 teams in the league. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, yes.
Super Bowl champion.
Anyone see that Kirk Cousins deal? Whoa. Anyways. Crazy.
We love Raheem.
That's a different panel.
Yes, yeah, right. I think I just want people to take away like how really great he is as a quarterback, but also how great he is as a person. You know, because off the field, as much as he doesn't even, like, as soon as he gets home, he's not even about football. He's about those 4 girls and Kelly. That's what he's about only. And he doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about anything like that. He just wants to live his life with his family, have good friends, you know, be able to travel, all things like that. He doesn't. Everything else is okay with him. But I do know that he wants to be recognized as one of the greatest. And you see it when you talk about it. He's like, I really want that. I want people to know who I am, respect who I am. I want the Stafford name to be out there.
Yeah, and you heard him say that. He wants the respects of the guys he plays with and the guys that he plays against. He has the respect of everyone in that building. I know it's also special to you. You guys came in at the same time, Kat. And wow, I mean, you came in and you win a Super Bowl and you're like, so this is how it works.
Yeah,
right?
Sean didn't like it when I said I must be the lucky charm for the season. And he said, go talk to Matthew, go talk to Vaughn, go talk to Odell, and then we'll see.
But it has been such a special ride for you, I know, even in a short tenure of being there. It's no coincidence that this is going to air right before the draft.
Oh, yes.
What message are you sending by putting out and saying, hey, not only the face of our franchise, but us as a franchise are going to do everything that we can to promote and highlight our players. This is who we are. Is that the messaging you're looking to?
I think it's, one, we exited the season with so much momentum. I think we're going into this draft with a first-round pick for the first time in Sean McVay's
which is crazy
head coaching career, which is incredible. And that we have nothing but momentum, hope, and optimism as we lead into this season. We're going to pick up another 11 draft picks if Les doesn't do his magic. Last year we started with 11, ended up with 14 draft picks, some of which, I don't know, heard of Puka Nacua, Kobe Turner, any of these guys. And that's what I think really drives that heartbeat of excitement for us as a club. You have to remember, inside those walls of these buildings, we're just big fans, right? And want to celebrate our fandom in ways that we think our fans deserve from a fan experience perspective. And so, you know, on the eve of draft, everyone get hyped. You're going to see a full feature, and then you're going to see us draft and bring even more goods onto the roster in such a powerful way. We'll get to tell their stories, and you'll get to see the collective in action.
In making this, Justin, for you, why did you want to take on a project like this? I know you mentioned, obviously, you're a fan of Matthew's, but you know, you get to pick the projects that you want to be a part of. Why was this something that you wanted to attach your name to?
Yeah, I think you know, being a former athlete, I'm always interested in sports things, and you know, this opportunity, you know, you don't get these opportunities very often to film somebody of this stature, you know, so you want to be able to tell these stories and tell them greatly, and to be able to continue telling stories like this. So I thought it was an opportunity to really focus in on somebody that was doing great things, and to tell the story the way I wanted to. You know, I saw a way that I could make this story great. So I wanted to make sure I could do that.
And for you, Steve, I know that, you know, at Summit House, that you guys do a lot of different things. How was this different? And clearly the personal connection was there, but how was this different for you professionally, and what were some of the challenges that you guys encountered?
Yeah, this was obviously the personal side of it for me. You know, was number one here, but the chance to work with an organization like the Rams, alongside them, Marissa Daly, who Kat shouted out earlier, and the whole studios team. A lot of times when we go into a project as an agency, it's us, and the client looks at us and goes, okay, just do it. And like, but Rams, completely opposite. The studios team, outside of just being big fans and knowing their stuff on the field and off, just great to work with. The collaboration there was amazing. Went above and beyond. I mean, you know, Sam, Marissa, the whole team. I've never seen a team, and I'm not speaking of football, but just like an internal team like that on an organization work as hard as they have, and continue to. We're not at April 18th yet, so a lot more work to do. But for us, that was exciting. Challenge-wise, I think, you know, anytime you make a documentary, especially with sports, Matthew could have had the worst 4-game stretch of his career. It could have been an absolute disaster where we come in and we're shooting all this stuff and we go, we don't know what we're going to do here. So, for him, thank you for doing that, for having a great few game stretch. But yeah, for us, it was just amazing working alongside, an organization you hear about. The Rams are doing all this innovative stuff. They're telling authentic stories. And for us, it was a dream. It was great. So
Yeah, and I think one thing also is that I'm going to give a shout out to the team as well, because the project was set up ready to tee off, and for somebody like me to come in and be like, the research was done, like all the the games were set, the footage was there, and you have top-notch inside team filming all the football footage and all that stuff, which you see on there is amazing. So like, it was a project that you can just kind of a lot of it was there, and I just kind of came in and really formed it and helped them see how we can tell a narrative story,
Even streamlining the logistics and the access, as Kat said, like in season, there's a lot going on, and for the whole Ram side to be able to coordinate in locker room, the Sprinter van, at home, in Detroit, sending the team up there. So it was a lot of moving pieces throughout this whole process, and they nailed it. So
I'm just glad that Sam still has all of his appendages, because he shot outside in Detroit all day long.
I'm going to tell a quick story.
Please do.
You saw a little bit of all of us walking into the stadium with Kelly in Detroit. It was 1 degree out. We were at a bar pre-gaming for this big game with everybody in Detroit, and we decided to walk. Kelly really wanted to walk to the stadium to just kind of be in the streets. And Sam goes, "I'm going to shoot this." I'm like, "It's 1 degree. You can't." Walks backwards for an entire mile with a camera in his hand through the streets of Detroit all the way into Ford Field. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
Well done, Sam.
Shout out to you, Sam.
Do it for the content.
I'm just excited for the other 31 quarterbacks in the league to look at their organization and be like, "Where's mine? Why do I not get something?"
One
like
of my
this?
favorite metrics of all time. How many times does a different club look at our content and go, "Why don't we have that?"
And for you as the CMO and continuing to give that access, I mean, this is next level. But what are some of those challenges that you continue to come up against, Kat, that this is a good reminder that if you have the player that's willing to do it, if you have the organization that's willing to put the efforts behind it, you can give fans something like this?
I mean, I think Matthews was a unique moment to be able to focus in on one player. I certainly think as a team, we live by Sean's mantra of "we, not me." And so we don't typically do things that are just single player. We give people a behind the scenes look, whether it's through Rams Revealed or Rams Iconic around our legends. But what was great is we also had this season to put Nine and Dime in the can. So Nine and Dime being sort of this lightweight, really lighthearted, I don't want to call it a comedy special, but it's Cooper Kupp and Matthew.
They'll call it a comedy special.
Oh,
Cooper and Matthew, yeah.
So far from a podcast format, but yet still light and snackable. And, I think it's those moments that remind you, you got to dig deeper. Sometimes you do owe it to our fans to do deeper profiles on some of the, the players that they love, the players that they count on in fantasy, the players that they count on in sports betting, and all of those things. And I think we are very thoughtful around what our fans are asking us for. And so trying to meet that moment with great production.
Why, someone who's worked in the NFL for, 18 years, it amazes me that every single year it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And, starting Thursday Night Football on Amazon 2 years ago, it just, you go, I always love people like, "Oh, I hope it works." I'm like, it's the NFL. Like when people are like, "Oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the game." It's like people will find it, right? It's the old Kevin Costner, if you build it, they will come.
No.
Why do you think that the brand continues to grow, and when you give people access like this and go underneath the helmet, it just furthers someone's interest, because you don't even have to be a football fan. You see him as a father, you see him as a husband. So what is that?
And there are so many inroads, right? If you are a girl dad, if you are a diehard, if you want to better understand how athletes stand up every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, and random Tuesday if you're our club. You know, it is about giving the different, that 360 look at an individual and how they get ready, how they stand up, but how they live as a person. And I think that whether you're talking about Barry Sanders or Giannis or whoever, like, this format has created an incredible sort of companion to the sports games themselves. 92 of the top 100 programs are NFL, from a ratings perspective. And so as, you know, as the brand and as our content team, raising the bar every year has to go skyrocket. We have to beat ourselves year on year on year to stay relevant. And it's just a very special, masochistic opportunity.
For you, Justin, you've worked on a bunch of different kinds of projects. What challenges or sort of what positives did you gain from this? Sort of the negative and the positive in working on something like this?
Yeah, you know, I usually have a lot more insight and control. Like coming into a Rams team that I think the biggest challenge was they know each other. They're always talking, and I'm outside of that bubble. I think that was a challenge. Just being able to, you know, be like, hey guys, I'm over here. I think that was a little bit of a challenge, but it's one that we worked through and we figured out. You know, I think they're just not used to it. They just go, and I'm like, hold on, stop. Like, let's talk about this. Like, we need to really focus in on this or do this. I think that was like the biggest challenge.
There's no stopping in season.
No, there's no. You guys move. And yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot the second part of the question, but that was like the biggest challenge overall.
Yeah, no, but also to grow, right? All of us in our respective careers, even if it's uncomfortable, it breeds growth, right? So you can walk away from a project like this and now know that you can work collectively.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I know how to deal with that and be able to use that, you know, growth and communication and figure out how we can all, you know, work towards a common goal.
Yeah. Steve, what do you want fans to take away from this?
That's a real loaded question. I've got a lot. I've got 20 years of stuff that I want them to take away. I want them to see the real him. You know, he's a guy that has always, like I said, has done it the right way, put his head down. He's the same guy he was, you know, before he got drafted and made all this money. If you didn't know who Matthew Stafford was and he was sitting in the audience here, he'd be the same guy with a backwards hat and a T-shirt on. He's not in a, you know, diamond-encrusted Versace something.
No, that's you.
Yeah. The Rams made me take it off. But no, he's just a great dude. He's a great friend. He's a great dad. He's a great teammate. His teammates have always, you know, I think that's when they're the ones that know. You know, the guys in the locker room with him, the guys that go to war with him, the guys that play against him. You know, there's some really great stories that'll come out of, you know, with what guys come up to him after a game and say. So I just want people to know the real him. He's funny, he's witty, he's very intelligent. Obviously, you have to be to play quarterback, but just a great guy, and I think we did a great job at showing that.
You sure did. I would love to open it up now. We have about 20 minutes for questions in the audience. If you have a question, you can come on up here to this microphone, and do not be shy. Yes.
All right.
Matthew? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was like, what? Thanks for doing this, y'all, especially on a crazy NFL day. So, Justin, you talked about having to be flexible with plans on a project like this. How much of this was storyboarded and planned out and mapped out versus having to change plans on the fly?
Great question.
We definitely came up with a plan of what we wanted to do, and that changed probably about 70% of the time. You know, I think you know, you have a week, right? You have certain things you wanted to do. You had practice. You had, you know, you knew Matthew would be here at a certain time. You knew he has a certain schedule he holds to. But at certain times, you know, Matthew might be like, you know, I'm really tired today. I don't want to film. You know, you have to think about that, because not only we're filming during the season. It's not like we're filming in the off season. So we also have to think about his job as well. Like, his job is to play quarterback for the Rams and to go win games. And so we have to be respectful of that. So, you know, you definitely have to, you know, things will change on the fly. Like, I'll be ready to go film, and they're like, we're not going to film today. Okay, we're not filming today. So you have to adjust and figure out what the story is going to be. So, you know, not only did the season help, but we always had to change our story as well.
I'm sure there's another question. You don't have to go to the microphone if you don't want.
You guys kind of alluded to this multiple times. What insight did you get into the work-life balance aspect of it? With an athlete like Matthew, another athlete I think of is Kobe Bryant. These athletes were legendary for the time they spent on the field, on the court, the extra time they spent to becoming great. How are they able to balance that with also still being great fathers, particularly to multiple daughters? Very relevant question for me because I'm an expecting father myself with a very busy professional life.
Oh, congratulations.
I think
Steve, you wanted to? Oh.
Yeah, sure. I think for him, it's just as, if not more important, to be a great father as it is a great quarterback and leader of the Los Angeles Rams. So when he gets home from practice every day or games or whatever, like there's no off switch like, hey, I need to feel like it's on. So I do think that, with the access we provide here, and you'll see it on April 18th, that's what's most interesting, I think, will be to the viewers is like what that work-life balance looks like. Like you're being a dad, which you'll find out soon is a full-time job, if not more than a full-time job. So he has multiple full-time jobs. So very important, and you got to keep that in mind. Like they just don't show up on Sunday and put a uniform on and start throwing the ball around. So it's everything else that goes into that.
Yeah, you'll also hear from Kelly, his wife, right? You'll see her perspective on that as well. Because she, as much as Matthew is around, he's not around just as much. And it's tough. It's tough on the fam. It's tough on her. She has to do a lot of things. But they still hold strong. They're still a strong unit. But it's just tough because he's gone at 4 a.m. in the morning. Just like you said, Kobe. These type of guys have that mentality that they got to get to work early and they got to work hard to be the best they can be. And that's why he's so good. But this period of time is only for a certain amount of years. Most quarterbacks only play 15, 16 years. They played maybe, I don't know, what's that?
I think the NFL average.
Like 2.5 or something like that?
It's
So
three,
like 3.
I think. Yeah.
So like for him, this is all going to end soon and he's going to be home. That's.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean says, one of the core fundamentals is be where your feet are, right? And I think that Matthew is a beautiful depiction of being where his feet are, right? He is absolutely locked in when he's in the facility. And as Kelly says, he's present, not just around, he's present at home. And he's actually engaged in the kids' lives. And I think that that's really important to show both sides of that. I think all of us as professionals struggle with finding that line, and I draw inspiration from it.
4 girls under 7. 5 women in total in that house. Is it more chaotic on the field or at the Stafford household?
You'll see on April 18th.
And
hey, there you go.
Very
He's
surprised.
good, folks. He's good.
And they got a dog.
And they just got a dog, so.
I just had a quick, is it going to be like an hour documentary or how many episodes we're going to be able to see? And another question, do you think other teams in the NFL might copy this documentary?
The answer to the second question is bring it on.
The 49ers asked us to do one on their quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was, had a meeting this morning.
Hard pass, Steve. Hard pass.
Hard pass.
The feature that comes out on the 18th will be a single episode feature.
One single. Okay, thank you.
And it will be carried on our channels as well as the NFL Network.
Hey guys, great session so far, thank you. As you think about, zooming out from the specific story, I'm curious how you're thinking about how this can be the beachhead for a much bigger platform within the, Rams, even kind of Kroenke, empire as it relates to storytelling, the value proposition as a player being like, wow, I'm not just going to get to come and play at a great team and a great family, but also I get to get featured. My head kind of spins a little bit about all the opportunities, how you can build a little universe around this. So I'm curious what you're thinking about as it relates to that.
Well, this is certainly a new frontier and yet another sort of weapon in our broader arsenal around content and storytelling. I just concluded, I'm headed into my 4th season with the Rams, and what we've been able to transform in our Rams Studios group over the last 3 years, I could not be more proud of. You think of franchises like Behind the Grind, the new Nine and Dime. Each of these become expansions, not only from a content storytelling perspective, but also from a partnerships perspective. We've done a number of these franchises which have allowed us to bring more partners into the fold, and certainly fuel our further expansion and growth subsequently. So it is so important for us to have not only, everything from social snackable up to full features to what ostensibly over years could be sort of multi-episode long form as well. And we want to be able, from a studio's perspective, to produce up and down the gamut.
Hey, so tell us a little bit about your pre-production process when dealing with talent that, like you all said, right, with Matthew is a little bit more humble, a little bit more not extroverted, right? Like, how do you guys get the most out of the talent knowing that they might not be as extroverted?
Great question.
Yeah. You have to, it's kind of a slow build in a way. I don't want to tell all my trade secrets, but like, I think with Matthew, you had to, it was a slow build. You had to slowly introduce yourself into his family. You got to get the girls comfortable with you. You have to get the
except Hunter, she was like,
ready. She was the best. Yeah. She was so cute. You have to get Kelly involved. You slowly build up with them, and when Matthew comes home and you're filming them and he sees everything's okay, he kind of lets down his guard. He's not as guarded. And I think that's with a lot of people. You have to, just slowly working it. You can't just put the camera in their face and say, let's do this. You got to
trust.
Figure out, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's zero chance that Matthew says he wants a gold jacket in your first take.
No. I'm surprised he actually said it out loud in front of a camera. So that was a big moment for him. So to actually admit that out loud.
But I think, and Steve, you could give more insight on this, but I think it's a massive testament to his love of the organization, his trust in you, and your guys' friendship, because he's not going to agree to do something like this and really be vulnerable, and knowing that once that's out there, it's out there, and that people will go after the things that he said or didn't say or whatever. So I think it's a testament to his.
And I think for me, there's a very authentic aspect to whether it's Sean or his teammates really speaking praise into life, because that is hard for him. Mm-hmm. He's not going to sit there and be like, I'm a gunslinger, I can throw a perfect spiral, but Puka will, Cooper will, Sean will say that guy is a badass, or in Sean language, that guy's a stud.
That's important for Matthew. To your point, he's not the guy that is ever going to come out and say, I'm the man. When we can all look at him, and we all are familiar with his career. He's a Super Bowl champion. So however you want to slice it, you're the man. And he will always be a Super Bowl champion. So for him, I actually, when I showed him the trailer, I made him FaceTime me, and I was like, I need to see your reaction to this. I don't want you to just go, that was cool. So I set up the FaceTime. Him and Kelly watched it. Kelly started crying. She was excited. And Matthew, it really meant a lot to him hearing Cooper and Puka and Sean, what they had to say. Even in this only brief little piece here, you could tell it meant a lot to him.
So he didn't know that you guys were interviewing them, right?
No, he didn't know. So, and just to hear that, from the guys that you want the respect from the most, that you go to war with, to hear that from his leader in Sean, and then the guys that, Puka has a jersey in the Hall of Fame already. The guy hasn't, he's been playing for 6 months. So it was really special for him to hear that. So.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm interested in this idea that the NFL is a contest on the pitch between 32 different clubs, but it's also a contest off the pitch between 32 different marketing departments. And I guess, Kath, this is really for you. I wondered if you could give us an insight into whether there are other teams or a particular team who you especially look up to in terms of their marketing strategy and output.
Yeah, I think we draw inspiration, I would say not singularly around any one club, but I think LA being an epicenter for creativity, entertainment, and sports, and then you have this palatial backdrop that is SoFi Stadium. And so I think part of the reason we up our game every time is we need something that is that love letter back to the Cronkies for their investment in sports, but also in the war for attention, you're not just singularly competing with 31 other clubs, you're competing in the war for attention, period. And when we think about how you grow fandom is locked in between the, generational fandom. The fandom that will chase you as you get older is locked in between 5 and 11. So how do you get this in front of younger audiences? How do you get someone like Matthew, who has had a long storied career somewhere else, how do you get them to have that sort of longitudinal fandom with him and feel invested and emotionally attached to the guy inside the helmet? And I think each of those opportunities, we think about, why would someone care? Why is this important? What will this make them feel? How will they feel closer and more connected? I think we are a team and a brand that really thinks about the values that we want to impart. We are one that stands up very heavily in the community and around service. And a lot of our guys have that in their core DNA. And so being able to storytell around these things that we think are truly emblematic of who we are, who our ownership is, and who the franchise endeavors to be throughout time. I think that's really special.
She slid around your question there, so just so you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just another question on behalf of another Cronky investment, Arsenal Football Club back in the UK. Yes. The all or nothing about Arsenal, one of the big things there was to develop fan bases overseas. And I'm wondering whether that's sort of spillover benefit of this. Do you have plans to take this?
Global domination? Absolutely in the cards. Absolutely in the cards. We've already begun an expansion overseas to international territories in New Zealand, Australia, China, Mexico, and that list will continue to expand this spring. So not only are the games watchable in those markets, but we continue to bring players to those markets, bring players from those markets to do collaborations, and you'll see more partnerships on the ground in those international markets as we move forward.
Fantastic. And just for people in the UK, how could we watch this in the UK?
We will get back to you on that.
Quick.
On Rams.com. Marissa, it was the obvious answer. Come to the Rams.com, watch our games there.
Hey, y'all. I just want to congratulate you first and foremost. As a former athlete turned film producer, I think what you've created is very timely and innovative as well. So I wanted to just ask if you could expand upon how you landed or how you ended up choosing to do this 2-week kind of back-to-back football game schedule versus maybe doing a whole season or an episode or 1 week?
Question. I can take the first part. I mean, I think part of it is, how do you continue to parlay the trust we've built in our internal Rams Studios team with the football in season, and certainly did not endeavor initially, right, as Justin said, 2 games in 5 days was the initial remit, because that was also very palatable in terms of minimizing distractions throughout the season. Winning begets winning. And so, Justin, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think from a storytelling perspective, you never see a lot of things in season. You don't see things in that time frame, right? The 2 games in 5 days. So to continue to be unique and give people something new, I think that's also the perspective from there, because you can tell a story about the season, but you've seen that a lot already, a lot of different ways. So I think that's one of the main things.
Yeah, and I also think Matthew, with him being older, he alludes to it in the documentary and in his interview where he says 2 games in 5 days is a lot. I mean, a game every week is a lot in the NFL with what they go through, but 2 games in 5 days when you're a younger player, your body's fresh, but your mind isn't as as seasoned, whereas him, who's been doing it for 15 years, his mind is obviously extremely seasoned, but his body, that's his challenge. So seeing that challenge of the 2 games in 5 days of a guy that's been doing it for 15 years was also a big differentiator there, why we wanted to tell that story.
We have about a minute left if there's one more question.
That's one simple question. You know Matt for a long time, since Detroit or whatnot. How much longer do you think he has?
In his own words, he's going to play till the wheels fall off. He loves playing. He loves his teammates. He loves being in the locker room. He's a gamer. He loves it. So obviously, staying healthy is most important. Like, you want to be able to, when you're done playing, to be able to pick up your girls and be a dad. So for him, if he stays healthy, he loves it. So he's got a few more in him for sure.
3 more Super Bowls at least.
Yeah.
You guys aren't stupid. You're like, look at what we did for you. Don't you want to stay around longer?
We love you. You love us.
Steve, congratulations on behalf of you and your whole team.
I do want to plug that Steve is here promoting 2 projects, and so
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kat.
Please talk a little bit.
We've
just
also
one
got
second.
we've also got a short film called Neodome in the festival that was written by our partners in Ritual Film, the Pfeffer twins, right there. They're the guys that look identical. So it premiered yesterday. So I don't know how you go and vote for it, but please vote for it. It's called Neodome. It's fantastic. Independent pilots. So thank you, Kat. Exciting week for us, but being here with you, the Rams, the whole extended team, very exciting. So,
Congratulations to you guys, Justin. Unbelievable job. They were lucky to have you, and I know that this is a very special project for you as well. And now you can share it with everyone on April 18th. Kat, congratulations. You are the envy of a lot of other organizations now, and I'm sure we will see more of these. Not as good, but we will see more of these after it debuts on April 18th. Again, NFL Network, Rams.com. And where else can we make sure we see it?
Come to the Rams.
When in doubt, Rams.com. Well, on behalf of everybody up here and the Rams organization, thank you guys for spending an hour of your afternoon with us. Make sure you watch Locked In April 18th.